If you have an interest in horses and love learning more about horses, the horse industry, teaching, or even managing your own horse business, then you're in the right place. We would love you to join us on our mission, which is to improve the lives of horses around the world through the education of riders, handlers, and trainers. So get comfortable, listen in, and enjoy.
Fiona Heysen's our guest today. Fiona's got a background in dressage, show jumping and eventing, and now focusing on dressage, where she's ridden and trained to Grand Prix. But Fiona's also a granddaughter of Sir Hans Heysen, who's a famous artist, and Fiona's been drawing and painting for over 40 years. How are you, Fiona?
Very good, thank you.
Good. Fiona, we start off with a favourite quote. Have you got one for us?
Yes. Treat others as you'd have them treat you. And I figure that goes for horses too.
Yeah, look, I think it's a really good quote, but when did you first hear it? When did you first start to live by it? When did you first start to consider that?
Let's see, I reckon it's probably come from my mum. So I would have heard it a lot of years ago.
Yep. And what about you obviously inspire students or people that you coach? Was your grandchildren ride? Is that right?
Children, yes, they both ride or can ride. One chooses not to, as they do. And the other one's had a bingle with a horse lately or horses and got a seriously broken arm. That's horses for you, isn't it?
I think we were going to have an earlier interview and we had to delay it because of the broken arm, didn't we?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So just going back to the quote that you said, you obviously instill that in them as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. Now tell us about how you first started with horses. What were your first memories?
I think when I was about 5 or 6, there was a pony on our farm and I used to climb the fence to groom it and all that sort of things as kids do. But my mum told me a story about when I was about, and this is sort of incorporating the art too, if you like. I was about 3 or so.
Yep.
And I drew horses all the time. Of course, they look like horses, and I was 3, not, but anyway. And I answered the phone one day, and these people obviously didn't know who I was. And I was very serious, and they were asking me to take a message, and I said, yes, that's fine, and took the message and hung up and then gave it to Mum. It was lots of drawing of horses. So that's me and horses. It's been a lifelong total obsession.
Okay. Well, no wonder she's so good because, you've got to put the time and effort into anything that you're talented at. So, you started drawing horses then. Yep.
Yes.
I think that's a good story. Yeah. Now, just going on, and I'm thinking about because you're a professional, still working within the horse industry, professional artist, when did you decide that art or horses or, what was your career moves there, having those interests?
Well, I guess I combined them for a long time, as in, I had my first solo exhibition at 18. So I was able to work the two together for quite a long time. But once it came to having a family, then neither of them cut it. Yep. Sadly, it's very, very hard to make money from either of them. And so they've been both sort of ticking along in the background while I've done other things.
Yep, good.
Yeah.
Now, if someone's going to work in the horse industry, what sort of core skills or character traits do you think they need to get started in the industry?
Oh, I think the sort of basic life skills like patience and resilience, tolerance, great sense of humour. I think you need all of those things.
Yep.
And probably something I'm not good at, which is being good at PR. Being able to sell yourself.
Yep.
And that's I've never been able to do that. So,
and that's probably to do with your art as well, because you're still sort of self-employed. Yeah. And there's, a lot of horse people are self-employed. And, sort of having those business skills to complement their horse skills is a good thing. Yeah, I think it's the only way you're going to make it these days. Yeah. What do you think's the best thing about, being with horses, working in the industry?
Oh, the horses themselves, gosh, they teach you so much.
Yeah.
They really do. They're kindness incorporated.
So you think that's the main lesson, the kindness, or, have there been other lessons that you think you've been taught by horses?
By horses, probably to keep it simple and don't complicate things. Yeah, that really is the essence of it, is to keep it simple. Horses are simple creatures. And shouldn't think that they're humans.
And I think they understand simple body language, simple asks, simple requests.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, nothing
absolutely. Body language is huge.
Yeah. Tell us about, and I know your grandfather, but on the horse side, people who've influenced you with horses.
Yeah, okay. The list.
Okay, a bit like that, is it? Yeah, good.
Wow, gosh. I mean, way back, I suppose, when I was first starting riding, and my parents sort of succumbed and got a pony for me, that would have been Nan Scott way back, and she is grandmother of Scott Keach.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Our Olympic rider.
Yep.
So, Nan Scott was fantastic and started a pony club, riding club down here at Victor. Mm-hmm. Her daughter, Di Keach, as a coach, she inspired me as a coach. Good. Going back again, Tom Roberts. Mm-hmm. And, if you're going to ask me about books or something, those are the books I would say every single time.
Tom Roberts.
Good old Tom. Yeah. All control books, particularly the ones about the bit and the young horse. But Tom used to come down to our riding club and run his little great not videos at all, are they? They're movies anyway, and about loading horses and all sorts of wonderful things. And he was just such a brilliant man. And I think there's a book just come out recently on Tom as well, and it's a fabulous book.
Yes, it was about Tom. Yep, I know the one.
Yeah. And it's got lots of lovely photos and stuff in it. And also about dressage, going back again, Owen Matthews. I remember seeing Owen Matthews riding Aintree Boy at Adelaide Royal, and I would have been about 11 or 12, I reckon. Mm-hmm. And it was under spotlight.
Yeah.
And it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And I remember saying to Mum then, I'm going to do that.
Isn't that good? Isn't that good?
Yeah. It was fine. I'm getting goosebumps now thinking about it. It was so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's probably, the start of the list anyway.
Yeah. Okay, the main ones.
Yeah.
So you've got people. What about horses or a horse that you think has been really influential?
Definitely my Grand Prix horse. I bred him. He was horse by Voluta, so it's a warm blood horse. Mm-hmm. And he grew and grew and grew and ended up at 3 hands. And I called him from the moment he was born. He was called Sir Hans, after my grandfather.
Yep.
And
I was going to say, yeah. And was your grandfather around when he was born?
Good question. No, I wouldn't have been. No.
He would have been pretty proud.
About 11 when grandfather died. So, yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, so Hansi was a wonderful horse. And that was probably the most patient horse I've ever met. Yeah, it took us a long time, but we got to Grand Prix, and it was fantastic.
So when you got to Grand Prix, do you think that's your proudest moment?
One off. Yeah, I was I was probably scared to death at the time. My first Grand Prix test. I remember having a completely dry mouth.
Did you?
I think, actually, one of the things I'm really proud of was going back to eventing after 25 years. Mm-hmm. And virtually not jumping in that time. And then a mare that I bred, she wasn't very good at dressage, and I thought, I'll pop you over some jumps. And she felt so good. And I continued on jumping her and took her. I only got to 95, eventing level. But that I was really proud of myself going out and doing that and jumping a metre again and all that sort of stuff.
That's good.
I've handed the horse on to a lovely young rider now, and she's taken her on a bit further, which is very exciting. So, but yeah, I'm proud of myself for doing that too.
Good. What about as an artist? What do you think your proudest moment's been there?
Oh, God. I was pretty excited when I won a big art prize here locally, and the painting's now hanging in the local council offices.
Oh, good.
And it was a superb painting. And probably what made me proudest of that was that my father loved it. Mm-hmm. My harshest critic, as far as art went. He was very kind, but he was also a very perfectionist critic.
Yes.
And he loved the painting. And okay, I've done it. That's good.
That's good. That's good. Yeah. Now, you talked earlier on about, you sort of started with horses, started painting, and had to put it on hold for your family. Do you think that's been your biggest challenge? That, you've had the family, you've had other commitments, you've got, just sort of trying to make it all come together financially and having these other commitments. Is that your biggest challenge, do you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, the biggest joy. 2 girls, absolutely gorgeous people.
Yep.
Very, very proud of them. But it has been a huge struggle, and the art has gone very much on the back burner at the moment.
Uh-huh.
But, I keep on having thoughts that, yes, we'll go back to painting.
Yeah.
And it will happen.
Yeah,
it will happen. But time is a hard thing.
But even that, like you're saying that things go on the back burner, you've still gone back to eventing after 25 years.
That's
You've
right.
still ridden to Grand Prix, and that must have happened in that time. So if someone else is in that situation, where they've got a family, they've got other commitments, they still want to ride, they still want to either, ride at a higher level.
Yep.
What sort of tips would you give them?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I was breastfeeding my baby, going out and getting qualifications to do, I think it was into 2.
Yep.
But yeah, and I remember that stinking hot day. Yeah, it is hard, but I got up extra early, rode my horse in the dark, was back inside in time for, later on for taking kids to school, that sort of thing. And it is hard work, but, oh gosh, it really is seriously worth it.
Yeah. I was going to say, you've got to be a good time manager, a good juggler of time, a good...
Yeah, spot on, absolutely spot on. Yeah, time management's the biggest skill. Yeah, there you go. There's another skill to have a career in the horse industry.
Yes. Okay, so juggling time, getting up early, still qualifying. Yeah. Okay, now thinking about, you as a coach, what do you think if someone's, riding, eventing, competing, what do you think's a big problem that you see? And also I want to ask you, how can they fix it?
Right.
And you might just think of a case study, an individual rider and, how they fixed it.
I think there is I know for myself as well, impatience. Impatience is probably the biggest problem. Impatience in general, like we've got to go and start jumping into now, or impatience as to, for me, riding at the moment. My little horse, he's perfectly capable of probably doing FEI stuff, but I have a very basic issue with him and I get impatient and think, oh, come on, you should know this by now.
Yeah.
So I think that is a basic one, and funnily enough, I was watching a YouTube this morning, and he was saying, he was talking about show jumping at the time, and he was saying that he's seeing a lot of anger amongst young riders, and they're being pressured by the parents.
Yep. And
so that sort of keys into the same thing. Impatience, frustration, anger, they're all things that are human, and it's got to come back to being simple. And saying, okay, this is a creature giving so kindly to us, and we've got to not go, now you can be, kiss it and let it go back in the paddock. Sorry, but I mean, keep simple and think in a horse-wise fashion. So I think that's the biggest thing I'm seeing out there. I mean, you go to things like, having, you're seeing too much hand before leg, and those more specific type things. But as a general thing, I think impatience is the biggest problem.
Oh, hang on a sec. Let me interrupt to let people know about the horse industry qualifications at onlinehorsecollege.com. If you have a look at the flexible options, there's online theory and the practical components can be completed by video or with a qualified expert in your area. That website again is onlinehorsecollege.com. Okay, thanks. It's going back to the basics and really, people start with horses, start to get that connection, start to want to work with horses because of the connection, because of the time they spend with horses, because of the enjoyment. And somewhere along the line, some people can lose that connection and forget about it and get a bit ambitious without actually thinking of why they got into it in the first place.
That's absolutely right. And I think in a way that's why I went back to eventing after 25 years, because I missed that amazing connection that you do have in eventing, because you have to spend so much time with that horse and do everything, all the three disciplines.
Yep.
it gives you a better connection back to the horse again. And, oh, gosh, I just loved it. And now I'm back to doing straight dressage, and I'm getting frustrated. So there you go. I better flick myself back into my connection with my horse again, I think.
Just introduce your horse to water again, pop over a little. Because there's a lot of trust, it's different. It's, you get your horse out of the arena and even just to get them to trust you, to say, look, I can't quite see the other side of that jump, but I'm going to jump it because I trust you. Yeah.
It's that huge trust thing that is from breaking in young horses right through to eventing to everything else. It's that trust element I find quite extraordinary about horses, that they trust us to do these things to them.
Yeah.
And I have to keep on reminding myself and reminding other people that, the horses allow us to do this and how amazing they are.
Yeah, yeah. Now, we talked about Tom Roberts and talked about, the books there. They're pretty much the main ones that you say.
Yes, I think so. And along the way, there's been lots of other people. And Jill Rolton was a huge mentor for me. She kicked me along into being a judge, being a coach.
Good.
She did both of those. She made me, said, come on, you can do this. And she was the same age as me.
Yeah.
And that was scary. But she was, a much more positive person, I think. Dynamic sort of person, dear Jill, and miss her hugely.
Yes.
But, she would have been, she'd be a big person in my lifetime. Who else? Various coaches, of course. Helen Cherry, who's now Helen Hegney, she was a coach for me. Holly Walsh was way back in Pony Club times. Edgar Litvart was a big mentor for me.
Yep.
Yeah. All my coaches, Proof a Letter, lots of people. They've been fantastic coaches, and they've all, interestingly, if I think about them, all been along the same sort of lines.
Yeah.
It's that truth to the horse sort of feeling.
Yes.
Be true to yourself, be true to the horse.
Yes. What are you looking forward to now? What does your future hold?
Well, the horse I was talking about, I wanted to do FCI with him, and he's not far off it. He's doing medium now, and he's a clever little thing.
Yep.
Well, he's that little, but, anything under 17 is little.
Now.
No, he's got lots of, he's very, very clever, but I have basic issues. So, yes, FCI, I want to be able to do that again. I've done the jumping a metre again, so I don't have to do that again.
Good.
And coaching. I love the coaching.
Yeah.
I really enjoy teaching people and seeing that light bulb moment when something clicks and, now I understand. Just such a thrill.
Yes. Yes. Yep. One thing I would like to ask you, and this is an artist question, what do you think is a good tip to give people about drawing horses? Because people that like horses just sort of, a lot of people might have a bit of a sketch or a bit of a play around, and then if they don't know what they're doing, they don't come from, any sort of background where they just learn to look at things. What do you think is a big mistake, do you think, when people are drawing horses?
Okay, well, the first thing is, I think, a horse's body is basically made up of 3 circles.
Yes.
So, shoulder, belly and rump, and then you stick a neck and head on. The hardest thing of the lot, the biggest mistake, is feet. From the fetlock down is really, really hard. The hock is a tricky shaped thing, and the legs themselves, you can get all the rest of it. Lots of people can probably draw heads of horses and so forth, but the legs are really tricky. And I think although I drew them forever and ever and ever, and they were quite respectable looking horses, but I went back and looked in anatomy books and looked for bone structure.
Yes.
You've got to be able to see the bones under the skin. And I think that's where, you've got circles, and then you've got to find those bones for the legs and the head. And that makes it real. Because if you're a horse person at all, say you're trying to draw a horse, and you look at it and think, that's not right. What about that? And I think it comes back to observation.
Yeah.
As well. Read the books, get the How to Draw Horses book, which I have. I also have that, and as much as anything to say to people, this is how you do it.
What was that one again? We might just add that to your list. Drawing horses, wasn't it?
Yeah, sure. How to draw horses.
Oh, How to Draw Horses. Yes, I've seen that book actually. Yep.
Yeah. It's great. Simple, but I think I was lucky because I have talent and I inherited talent, and quite a lot of the Heysens have, of my sort of, 18 cousins. I think there are 7 or 8 of us that draw.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That are good at it.
Yes.
So I've been lucky to have that, being able to have a eye-hand coordination thing, but you have to be able to be observant as well, really, really observant. So I think somebody looking at their drawing thinking that's wrong is already being observant.
Yep.
So they know that that's wrong. So they've got to back to the horse and think, okay, where does that bone go? Oh, there. Oh, that bends that angle. Oh, right, okay. Getting down to the feet, making the feet look like they're on the ground. You'll see lots of pictures of horses with their legs in grass because people can't do feet.
Yeah, I have seen a few horses in grass, or just,
That's it.
Nice long grass, makes it look good. Yep.
Yeah. Let's cover that bit because, oh dear, that didn't work. And they are the hardest things to put on the ground. They really are hard to put on the ground and make it look like they're on the ground.
All right. Now, in a few sentences, can you summarise your philosophy with horses?
I think I pretty much have. Keeping it simple. Basic principles of, when you're riding, of what each leg and hand does. When I coach, I'm rambling, okay, but when I coach, I always say to people that the inside leg is your go button. It's go forward and go round me. Outside leg's the controller. It controls the outside of the horse. The outside hand does the same thing. It controls the horse speed and the amount of bend. The inside hand asks for a bit of bend. Pretty much that's it. Doesn't have to be any more than that. And from there, if that's happening, then you can do half passes, pirouette, everything.
Yep.
But it's basic principles and the German training scale.
Okay. Yep. Fiona, how can people contact you?
As you found out, my phone is not that wonderful, my phone reception.
Yep.
So text is best. So my mobile text is usually the best. Facebook is fantastic. I love Facebook.
Okay, cool.
Personal messages, Messenger on Facebook. I did have a website, but got too hard. Facebook's just as easy.
Okay. And we'll put those details up on horsechats.com/Fiona Heysen, or you can go to horsechats.com and search for Fiona or search for Heysen, and you'll find Fiona's details on that page. All right. Yep. Fiona, thank you for talking to us. Thank you for all the tips about horses. Your philosophy about horses was great, but, I don't think I've had anyone on yet that's talked about drawing horses, and I think it's a complementary skill. It's an area of the horse industry that's still within the horse industry, but just using your particular talents for. So thank you very much for that.
Well, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Oh, wait, before you go, if you're an equestrian coach or a horse riding instructor, or even if you aspire to be one, have a look at the free video series for horse riding instructors on the Horse Chats website. Go there now, have a look, horsechats.com.
Remember that our comments and instructions are general in nature and do not take into consideration your individual horses or your individual ability and circumstances. If you enjoyed this podcast, then please leave your comment below.